Welcome back to my channel, Sandy's Losing It. I have a big subject to talk about today, so I just wanted to jump on into it. Okay, I wanted to talk about keto, eating disorders, and binge eating, and how it all works together for me. This is just from my perspective of coming into keto with an eating disorder. I've been talking to a lot of people lately that are doing keto who have an eating disorder. I came into it with an eating disorder, and I think there's probably a lot of people that have hidden eating disorder or just not ready to admit it yet. Now, I have always been very open with the fact of people bring up an eating disorder. I've always been very open with it. Yes, I have an eating disorder. You don't get above 300 pounds at 4'10" without an eating disorder. But I never elaborated on it, and I never really discussed it beyond that point until here the last few months with other people in comment sections of videos and stuff. I'm very open about, what I've done. Okay, so any diet in the past where I thought of it as a diet, I was starting this to lose weight to get to here, where it was all about the scale. That's when the major issues with my eating disorder would kick in. Now, when I wasn't on a diet, I would binge eat just constantly. I was a binge eater, and I would control what I ate until evening time, and then just binge all day, all evening until I went to sleep. Sometimes even getting up in the middle of the night and binging some more when I already felt full. But whenever I would think about losing weight, that's when the worst part of it come in, the binging and the purging. I would do really, really good all day long, and then I would binge in the evening and purge. And my family, I don't even think, realized I was doing that. Even if we went to a restaurant, what I would do is I'd estimate how many calories were on my plate and how many calories that I wanted to eat for that meal. Sort of section that out very discreetly, eat around it, then say that I had to go potty, go in, get rid of that, purge, come back and finish the meal, so that those were the calories that I logged for the day, what I actually kept. And I did that every diet that I have been on until I started keto. And my first 2 months of keto was fantastic. I mean, fantastic that I didn't even have the urge, because I've never had what was considered a cheat. So I always stayed within my limits that I set for myself with my macros, and within calorie restriction that I had set for myself until the third month. And then intermittent fasting has sort of phased its way in. Just it became natural. You just woke up and you weren't hungry, so you just followed the rules, the keto rules. Only eat when hungry. So I was noticing that I was going 16, 17, 18 hours without a meal. So I decided, okay, I'm doing this. It's just coming so naturally. I'm going to set windows for myself and start doing it on a scheduled basis. That's where I made my first mistake. So for me, I'd picked Mondays because Mondays was very easy for me not to eat. And that's when most of my, if I was going to go 24 hours or more, what happened was be on a Monday, because Mondays I worked 12 hours a day. So by the time you took the hour off before and the hour off in the evening, 14 hours of my day was wrapped around work. So get up, go to work, come home, go to bed. It was very easy to fast. Just you were busy all day. You never thought about food. So I would schedule them in. The first one I did fine. The second one, once I come home that evening, I had been, not that I felt hungry, but I was obsessed with food all day long. What am I going to eat tomorrow? When am I going to break my fast? And what am I going to eat? And it just became, that's all that was in my head. So Come that Monday night when I came home, I binged. But the thing is, when I entered it into my Fitness Pal, it was still way under my calorie restriction for the day. It fit my macros. I mean, my macros pretty much were perfect. My carbs was a little low. I think that day I only had 3 carbs. But when I come home, I binged on a bag of pork rinds, a 3-egg omelet with 2 pieces of pepper jack cheese, a little bit of sauteed onions and peppers in there. And I had something else, but it's been months ago and I can't really remember now. But once I entered it, like I said, it was way under calories. In the macros, other than the carbs being only at 3, the macros came in pretty much perfect. But because I had set parameters for myself and I was outside of those, I wasn't supposed to eat that day, and I did. So I was obsessed with it, and until I went in and got rid of it, it was driving me crazy. So I was like, oh, that wasn't good. I had promised myself I wasn't going to do this. So I had it all, nope, we're not doing that again. No. Well, then the next Monday came and I did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. It was like Groundhog Day. I did the exact same thing. So that next Tuesday morning when I got up, I wrote down rules and parameters for myself. And one of those was no longer scheduling an intermittent fasting day. Now I still do intermittent fasting, but it's just whatever comes naturally. I eat when hungry, and I don't care how many hours I go between that. I don't care if it's just 8 or if 16, 17, 18, whatever it happens to be. I just eat when I'm hungry. But I thought I would pull those from my notebook and share my tips to stop a binge or overcome one and move on if I do. So these is what has worked for me. Okay, so first I had a before section, what to do to try to keep it from even, the urge to even be there. Okay, and my first thing was remove any temptations, which there are no tempting foods in my house, so that's not a problem for me, but I had put it down there just to have it there. But my temptations, like I said, I ate keto foods both times that I purged. So the second one was don't be rigid with food rules. Trying not to, this is what you're going to stick to. So that I was then able to disappoint myself in some way or let myself down in some way if I set rigid food rules. You're going to eat at this time and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. So let go of the rigid rules when it comes to food. Okay. And that also is for me with my macros. I can't have too rigid of a set point. That's why I'm like, oh, here to here and here to here. Because if I have too rigid of a set point and I go over it, even by 1 carb, it's a trigger and it eats at my head and it affects that urge to then binge because I know I went over what I had set for myself. Okay. Don't wait too long to eat. As soon as you feel the urge to eat, the hunger, eat. Because if you wait too long and then as you're trying to prep, we know how we do, that's when our binging starts. But we start just binging as we're open the refrigerator. I shouldn't say we. This is me. These are my experiences. And if you relate to them, okay, but I shouldn't use the words we. This is me. This is what I did. If I had waited too long to eat and I opened that refrigerator, I would be mowing as I'm taking food out to cook. Grab a cheese stick, a handful of olives, whatever it happened to be. Okay. Make sure you're getting your electrolytes in. Make that ketoade. I'll link the recipe again below in this video. Make sure your electrolytes are staying up because I noticed that too is when I want to binge. most of the time, if I'm gonna forget my ketoade, it's on Mondays because I'm rushing. And those 2 days I did. Of all days to forget your ketoade a day when you're planning on a fast, that was just poor planning on my part. So make sure you're keeping those electrolytes up. So even when you're fasting, you still have to take in your electrolytes, even more importantly, because when we're eating food, we're getting salts and potassium, that kind of stuff in our food. When you're fasting, you have to make sure you're supplemented. So you're allowed to have the ketoade on a fast. You're allowed to have the touch of apple cider vinegar and the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium. Now, for some people, the sugar-free drink mix is, but don't put it in there then. Just, if it doesn't agree with your version of keto, then don't use that. So take the ketoade recipe and adapt it to what suits you. So pre-planning, and I just said, it's almost like a contradiction to what I said, but when I pre-log my food and do meal prep and pre-log, then I don't have to think about it. This is the menu, I'm following the menu, and that's it. So there's no thought process that's going into that full day of eating. It's already been done the day before, and I'm just going with the flow, especially that first 2 months after that. So month 4, the rest of month 3, month 4 and month 5, I was extremely strict when it came to that, to making sure that I was having my week covered. So here lately, I've had a lot of days, I don't know where I'm going to eat. Because I felt like I've been in very much control of my eating disorder. But back then I wasn't. So making sure I had plenty of keto-fied foods on hand, grilled chicken already cooked, and turkey breast and steak, and making sure everything was in the refrigerator so that when I got hungry, there was no, I've got to prepare now. I just grabbed it, pulled it out, and ate. And the pre-logging then kept me more accountable because it was already done. And then in the moment. So you've done all these things and you're in the moment and you feel a binge coming on. What did I do to stop that? The first thing I did was made something hot to drink, rather it be coffee or tea, hot bouillon, chicken bouillon, something very hot, and get it as hot as I can. Like, this isn't hot. I've had it sitting here for a while. It's not very hot, but if I felt like I was going to binge, I'd make sure that was just as hot as I could stand it to be. And then have my ketoade filled with ice, where it's ice cold, or in ice cold water, or something ice cold, so I could take a sip of hot and then take a sip of cold, and sip of hot and sip of cold. And you would be surprised, even though you're aware that you're doing it, it still tricks your brain and your body, and you feel satisfied. You feel like you're having something. So that's the first thing I do if I feel like I want to binge, is hot and cold. And then I would try to smell something mint. I have, and I forgot it at work. I wish I had it so I could show it to you. When I was in a hurry to leave and I forgot it. But it's like one of those nasal sniffers that I had got at a craft fair. And the lady put mint essential oils in it. And I sniffed that. And I guess I'm not sure what it is about the mint, but it calms me and it sort of lets me take a moment. And when you're tasting mint or smelling mint, nothing else is going to taste good at that time. So if I don't have my smelly thing, then I have mint gum. And I don't care what kind of gum. All gum I buy is sugar-free, but there's some gum that I have in my purse that I've checked that it has maltol in it. But I'd rather have the maltol than binge. So I will pop a piece in my mouth and chew mint gum. Distract yourself. Go do something physical. Go for a walk. Do some laundry. Dust. Clean your house. go do something. I don't suggest reading, and that's just from my own personal, because you're reading, then your mind drifts back to food, and you find yourself no longer even reading the page, or you're daydreaming. It's got to be something physically active that's engaging your mind, your hands, and your body. So do something physical. And then if none of that works and you still binge, now I have been lucky that I haven't done that yet. So I purged the first 2 times in my 3rd month, wrote these rules out for myself, set the parameters that I wanted to follow. And then, because I don't want to be too strict, I put these after a purge. What do you do? So far, I haven't had to use them, thank goodness, but this is what my plan is. First, I'm not going to punish myself. I'm going to move on from that moment and let it go. But before I go to bed that night, I'm going to have something fatty. So whether it be a butter coffee, a fat bomb, just a big old bite of butter, but I'm going to have something fatty right before I lay down to sleep. And then in the morning, first thing when I get up that next day, again, something very fatty, a bulletproof coffee, fat bomb, something. That way, I'm already going to bed satiated, and I'm waking up and satiating myself right away. And then keeping busy that next day with things I enjoy. Keep busy with things I enjoy. And then I'm going to look at my meal prep and get right back to that stuff again. Meal prepping and pre-logging. So that way, food is not something that I have to focus on. It's just automatic. Just reach in, grab, you've got your day set and ready. But yeah, so I came at keto from an eating disorder. And I will tell you though, even though I've done it twice, keto still offers me the best control that I have ever had. The best control that I've ever had. So am I no, I'm not happy that I slipped those 2 times. And can I say that I will never slip again? Nope, not going to say that. Not going to say that. But right now, I'm in control. And it's the most control I've ever had. So I honestly do believe keto, for me, is the best way to eat in all regards, not just for my physical health, but also for my mental health. So if you're suffering with eating disorder, share, because I honestly believe that that is what kept it in control, as much control as I had over it before I started keto, was the fact that I didn't hide it. If people brought it up, I was there saying, yep, I didn't get to 300-something pounds without an eating disorder. Yeah, I have an eating disorder. I didn't go into depth because nobody asked me. But if people were more willing to dive into it, I would have been upfront and honest about the whole business. And I want to do that now. I want to be upfront and honest with where I came from and hopefully where I'll never go again. If I do, I'm not going to beat myself up. It's going to, but alrighty guys, now I'm starting to ramble. I'm sorry this was such a long video, and I hope that it helps somebody. But at least it's going to let me be honest and stay accountable. You guys have a great day and blessings.